as I said before, we're going to have a centralized place for all our styles. And for that, I'm going to create a folder inside the lib, which I'm going to call utils. And inside here, I'm going to create a new file, which I'm going to call app styles. So I'm going to create class app styles, and I'm going to define some styles that I'm going to use in the application. So let me try and import the Google Fonts because we're going to use it here. And remember, Google Fonts was one of the packages that we installed inside the pubspec.yaml file. So I'm going to add Google Fonts here. Okay. So this is going to be Google Fonts dot. So the font that I'm going to use in this app is the Lobster 2. So font size. So the font size, I'm going to use a proportionate font size. And for that, we are going to try and fetch the device dimensions of the device that you are going to run this application on. And for that, I think it will be good to create yet another file and get those kinds of dimensions. So it's a class size config. So that is going to get us the proportionate height and the proportionate width. All right. So with that, we can go back to our app styles. And now here the font size, I can use size config dot get proportionate height. And I'm going to set it to 20. I'm going to give it a color of colors.white. And I'm going to give it a font weight of font weight bold. So I'm going to copy this again, and I'm going to create for the title. So it's going to be title textile. We are going to create now a variable called main color, which I'm going to pass to the color that we have been using. So I'm going to take this color and I'm going to paste it here instead, like that. Okay, now with that, I can go to the main.dat file. And here, for the said color, I can say app styles dot main color. Okay. Again, here I can say app styles dot main color, like that. We can go to the splash screen. So here, now we can set the styles for this text. So here, so style is going to be app styles dot title textile. And this one, I'm going to set the style to app style. Let me remove the const keyword. So this is going to be, so for this is going to be app styles dot normal textile. Also here, for the background color, I can change it to app styles dot main color, like that. Okay, now that we have finished working on the splash screen and we have seen that it is working as intended, we cannot try to go and work on other parts of the application. Let us first work on signing and registration. Okay, so for that, we are going to start working on the authentication part of the application. So I'm going to go to features and I'm going to create a new folder. Name it presentation. I'm going to create 3 folders here. The other one is I'm going to call data. And the other one I'm going to call domain. So in the presentation, I'm going to have screens and I'm going to have something called controller. Okay, so inside the screen, we are going to start with the sign-in screen. So our sign-in screen is going to be a consumer stateful widget called sign-in screen. And you are going to import a river pod, and I'm also going to import material.dat file, like that. So inside the sign-in screen, we are going to collect the email and the password, and also going to have the button for login. And then you're going to have two buttons, one to direct the user to register as a donor, and the other for user to go and register as a recipient. So for that, here we are going to return a column, okay, which has children that we are going to create. So the first child is an image asset, and its assets /logo.png. We are going to give it a height of size config .get proportionate height of 100. We are going to give it a width of size config .get proportionate width of 102, and I'm going to give it a fit of box fit .cover. After that image, we are going to create a text which says sign in to your account, and I'm going to have a style of app styles .title text style, and I'm going to change the color, so I'm going to use copy width and set the color to colors.black, like that. So after that, we are going to create a sized box which has a height of size config .get proportionate height, and I'm going to give it a height of 25. And then now, after that, I want us to create now the text fields that we are now going to use to now input email and also the password. So for that, I'm going to create a new folder, which I'm going to call common widgets. This folder is going to be inside of the lib folder, common widgets. Okay, so inside here, I'm going to create a common text field. And the common text field is going to be a stateless widget called common text field. So let me import material.dat, like that. So here, I'm going to add those, like that. And here we are going to return a text form field. So the first property that we are going to set is the text input type. We're also going to we are going to set the controller of app styles .normal text styles .copy width colors.black. We are going to set the decoration to input decoration int text of hint text, hint style of app styles .normal text style .copy width colors.black. We're going to set the border of outline input border, set the border radius of border radius .circular, and give that there a border side of const border side. We set the color to colors.black and give a width of 1.0. Okay, I'm going to copy this and I'm gonna paste it again here. This is going to be enabled border, which will have the same properties, and I'm going to copy it once again. This time is focused border, which will have the same properties. And finally, I'm going to set the content padding to edge insets .symmetric, and set the horizontal margin to 10.0, and I'm going to add a const right here. Okay, so that concludes our common text field. So we can go back to the sign-in screen. So inside the sign-in screen now, here we can create the common text field like that. Set the hint text as enter email. The input type is going to be text input type dot email address, and the controller, we are going to create the controller right now. So we are going to come here to the state class, and I'm going to create the email editing controller, which is a text editing controller. And where we are here, we are also going to create the password controller. So let me just call this email controller and password controller, which is also a text editing controller, which will need to be disposed. So we need to dispose the email controller, and we also need to dispose the password controller. Okay, so that they can stop consuming the app resources when they are no longer in use. So for the email controller here, I'm going to pass the email controller like that. So after that, we can have a text box, which I'm going to paste down here. And this I'm going to give it a height of 10. And we now need to create yet another common text field, this time for the password. So this is going to be enter password. We can just set this to text, and we are going to set this to password controller. We can have yet another text field, another sized box for some space. And this time we are going to create a button. Again, this button, we are going to use it in multiple places. So I suggest we create it the same way we created this common text field. So inside the common widgets, I want us to create the common button. So I'm going to add a file, which I'm going to call common button. So the common button is a stateless widget, and I'm going to import material.dat final void callback, which I'm going to call on tap. We're going to have the string title, and we're also going to have the bool is loading, so that we can do something when this button has been tapped and we need to perform some operations. Okay, so let me add those parameters. All right, so this is going to return an inkwell with an on tap. We pass our on tap there, and the child is now the container. It has an alignment of alignment.center. We're going to give it a size of a height of size config dot get proportionate height of 50. A width, we are going to give it the screen width. So the screen width, and it's going to have a decoration of type box decoration. We're going to give it a color. So the color is app styles dot main color, and I'm going to give it a border radius of border radius dot circular 20.0. This container is going to have a child. Okay, so since this button is going to be clicked and we are going to update the state, so we are going to change this from a stateless widget to a stateful widget. Okay, because its state is going to update. So with that, we are going to check if widget dot is loading. So if it is loading, we want to show a circular progress indicator. So circular progress indicator. So else we want to show a text, and the text that we want to show is the widget dot title, the one that we specified at the top. Okay, which is going to have a style of app styles dot normal text style, like that. Cool. So with that, we can now go back to our sign-in screen. Right, so here we are going to have to create now our common button. For now, we are just going to have an empty on tap method here. For the title, I'm going to type sign in, and for its loading, for now I'm going to change this value to false for now, but I'm going to update it later, of course. After that, we are going to create another sized box for some space. I'm going to give it a height of say 15. A text going to be or, which has a style of app styles dot title text style dot copy width, and I'm going to give it a color of colors dot black. We now want to create two buttons, one which is going to be tapped to register as a donor and one which is going to be tapped to register as a recipient. So for that, I'm going to create a container here, and this container is going to have a padding, a width of size config.screen width, alignment of alignment.center, a decoration of box decoration, border radius radius.circular of 20, border of border.all, a color colors.black, width of 2, and a style of border style.solid, a child of text. So the text is going to register as recipient, which I'm going to give it a style of app styles dot normal textile dot copy width colors dot black, like that. So I'm going to wrap this container into another widget of gesture detector, because you want it to be clickable. So it has an on tap parameter, and inside this on tap, you now want to navigate to the registration screen to register as either a donor or a recipient. So for that, we are going to use context.go named. So since we have go router, that's why we are able to do this. So you want to go to app routes want to go to the register dot name, but we want to send something, and that something is the extra. So we want to know whether we clicked this button as either a recipient or a donor. So we are going to pass the extra. So for this, the extra that we're going to pass is the recipient, like that. Okay, so once we hit this button, we are going to be directed to the register screen, and we are going to register as a recipient. Okay, so after this gesture detector, we are going to have to add another sized box here and give it a height of 10, and we are going now to add yet another container, and this we are going to change this to donor, like that, and here register as a donor. So finally at the bottom, we can add yet another sized box to just give it some extra space at the bottom. To make this scrollable, we are going to wrap this column inside of another widget, which is a single child scroll view. So with that, our column is going to be scrollable. To give it a nice look, to give this interface a nice look, I'm going to wrap this column inside of a container. I'm going to give it a padding of edge inserts dot all 10. I'm going to give it a decoration of box decoration, give it a color of colors dot white, and give it a border radius of border radius dot circular 20.0. So we are going to wrap this single child scroll view inside of yet another widget, which is a scaffold. On this scaffold, we are going to give it a background color, and the color that we want is the app styles dot main color. We are going to wrap the single child scroll view inside of a padding, and this padding is going to be a body instead of a child. So this padding, instead of edge inserts dot all, we are going to have edge inserts dot from LTRB. So from the top, we are going to have size config dot get proportionate width of 10. The top, we set the height of 50. The right, we give a width of 10 and the bottom we give 0, like that. So I think I need to run the application so that we can have an idea of what is happening here instead of just writing this code.